Hello and welcome to this recording of our VocTech Activate Grant Fund webinar. I'm Jane Holmes, Head of Grant Programmes at UFI. During the recording, I'll talk a bit about UFI and tell you more about this particular grant call for about 15 or 20 minutes. If you were coming to a workshop, we'd then have a breakout session where you'd have an opportunity to talk to a member of our grants team and ask any questions that you have. UFI supports the development and deployment of digital tech, tools and approaches that help us all obtain the skills we need to get more out of our working lives. We believe that equitable access to skills enabled by technology is vital to building a thriving economy. As a charity, we have a particular focus on those learners who have been poorly served, under-supported or overlooked by traditional or mainstream provision. And we use the term VocTech to describe what we support, the combination of technology and vocational skills. We champion the power of technology to improve skills for work. We act as a funding partner and essential friend to innovators in skills development. And there's much more on our strategy, Learning Without Walls, and our theory of change on our website if you'd like to see the background. At UFI, we know that technology alone will not save us. The humans and machines really are in it together. We see VocTech as an enabler, supporting better outcomes for learners in many and various ways. For example, opening up access, supporting teachers and trainers, improving assessment, and enabling learning to happen in new and different ways which deliver for learners and for employers. We offer grants, we invest in mission-aligned companies through UFI Ventures, and we advocate to catalyse change in attitude, focus and investment in VocTech in the UK. So what is VocTech Activate? VocTech Activate is grant funding for innovative projects using digital tools and approaches to help adults gain skills for work. And by adults, we mean anyone over 16 who's available for work. Specifically, it targets new ideas with the potential to transform how adult vocational learning happens. VocTech Activate provides a testbed where new ideas which solve real vocational learning problems can be scoped and tested in a supportive environment. And it's rooted in real-world understanding of the problems, issues and opportunities in the vocational sector. We don't fund tech for tech's sake. We fund tech that's solving a problem, specifically a vocational learning problem. We are really interested in big ideas that have the potential to transform vocational learning. We need to understand how you see your idea having a significant impact in the vocational learning market. And by that, we mean learning that will help people get jobs, get better jobs, or upskill within their existing jobs. With the relatively small number of projects we fund each year, each one needs to have big ideas and goals that can cascade across the sector. We're also interested in ideas that have the potential to reach a large number of learners or users in the longer term. Our funding acts as a catalyst for change, and we need to get the ideas to as many people as possible. If your community of learners or users is relatively small, you need to consider how to reach out and make this a universal offer that others could adopt and adapt. We're interested in products and services that can reach those not well served by mainstream provision, perhaps those whose training needs are overlooked in a current role or those who didn't thrive in a classroom environment. And we're looking for ideas that show how UFI funding can help make a difference. We are not just another funder. We're about building capacity and long-term relationships. We'd like to hear how you will contribute to the wider UFI family and what our support will help you achieve. It's important to say what we don't grant fund as well as what we do. I'm not going to read out this list, but I am going to say that the skill being taught is not our focus. We fund tech for skills, not tech skills. This grant fund isn't about training projects which are more of the same. It's for projects which solve a vocational learning problem and are offering genuinely innovative approaches to training through new digital training tools and genuinely novel methods. We don't fund projects for schools. Sometimes there are spillover benefits for 14 to 16-year-olds, but this must not be the focus of the project. And we don't fund standard content projects, for example, taking printed content and putting it on a screen. We're interested in how the innovation in your approach using digital tools improves outcomes for learners. We don't fund routine business or product development where there's no public benefit case for charitable funding, degree level studies, entrepreneurship skills, basic digital or generic employability skills. And we don't buy training places for individuals. We focus on the potential long-term impact for many. And project beneficiaries must be in the UK because we're a UK charity. Everything we fund supports our mission to promote better use of technology for adult learners and the differing ways that digital tech can enhance existing provision. So it could be the development of innovative tech, but it also could be the development, the innovative use of existing tech. It could be using established technology in a new way or for a new user group. For example, taking tech currently only deployed in schools or universities and developing it for use in further education, in the workplace, and for workplace skills. So we've talked about our focus on the new tech, new markets, new communities of learners, and new project teams. So where do you start? And our answer is, don't start with the tech. So first think, what's the problem or issue I'm trying to solve or address? Then, how could that problem be solved? And then, which learning technologies can help solve it? Often people want to know what we mean by learning technology. And we fund projects across the spectrum of digital technology, which can include software, e-learning, adaptive learning, simulation, gamification, video, VR, AR, curation tools, digital badging, apps, performance support, AI, social, or any combination of the above. And remember, the technology must solve a clearly identified issue or problem in adults gaining skills for work or while in work. The first question our application form asks is, what is the vocational learning issue your project plans to address? And we've noticed that applicants have sometimes found it difficult to define their problem or issue, so we thought we'd explain what we mean. To define a problem, you must clearly state what is broken, missing, absent, or inadequate for your learners or users. What is the impact of that now and in the future? What would the situation be if it was fixed? And why does it need fixing? So be really clear about the problem you're addressing and the impact that problem is currently having. Be focused and realistic in your approach. The issue might be huge, so concentrate on a specific part of it where you judge you can make a difference. And remember that defining a problem is not about how to solve it. Now, this is a busy slide, but there's a reason for that. As we're talking about how defining a problem well is not about how to solve it, here's an example. There aren't enough skilled pest controllers, carers, dental technicians, whatever your industry is, in the industry because they don't have access to a game-based digital training solution where they can practice these skills. That's got a bit of a description of a problem, not enough skilled workers, but then goes straight into the solution. This version is a really clear definition of the problem and why it matters. Increased and urgent demand for X has had a direct impact on the ability of employers to find the time and resources to train new and existing staff. Current training methods involve sitting next to an experienced member of staff and watching what they do, and a method of learning which has less reliance on existing staff and could be applied away from the shop floor would be a benefit. Have a look at our VocTech directory on our website for examples of projects we funded in the past and the problems and challenges they've tried to solve. How much grant funding is available? Well, grants of between £30,000 and £60,000 are available for projects of between 3 and 12 months duration. Each grant application is considered on its merits and the costs assessed against the work that you've proposed. Be realistic about what you need to deliver your new product or service. If you're using a bid writer, and we know that many organisations do, they may well tell you to come in under the max £60,000 to have a better chance of success. We are not like other funders, and I'll come back to this. And we sometimes reject applications because we don't think they're being realistic about the costs they will incur. So do ask for what you need to deliver the project that you've described. And it's not just about the money. We will work with you to give your project the best chance of success. So you'll join a cohort of innovators from across the UK. You'll receive personal support from our experienced and knowledgeable team, who you'd get to meet if you come to a live workshop. You gain access to experts, networking, collaboration, and support. And over the lifetime of your project, we'll get you together with other grant-funded projects to share experience, knowledge, and the hurdles you've overcome together. So what should Activate funding be used for? In case you haven't guessed already, it's about solving a vocational learning issue and helping adults get the skills they need for or in work. So activities could include design, development and prototyping, refining learning design, testing with users, planning a route to market and strategies for scaling, project management, evidencing impact and what works, all with user needs at their heart. I've said could at the top of this list, but we firmly believe that you cannot design and develop an effective product or service without involving learners or users. So that's more of a must. And successful endpoints could be that your solution is tested with a small number of users, the potential impact is demonstrated, the route to market and the scaling up is planned, and you have a business model, a plan for financial sustainability. However, we hope not, but you could also conclude that your product isn't the right one for the market, that you've learnt lots, but you aren't going to move forward with the solution you've created. And that's what we mean by being genuinely okay with risk. VocTech Activate 2023 is open to all organisations, including charities, trade bodies, existing learning providers and employers. Individuals can apply, but they would need to become an incorporated body to receive a grant. And applications from outside the UK must demonstrate their impact inside the UK because we're a UK charity. And we think the fund is particularly suitable for early stage businesses, digital innovators, and organisations looking to test new digital approaches on a small scale with our support. We thought it was important to tell you what a good application looks like. So a good application has evidence of a problem. You will not be surprised to hear. Evidence that you've done some research into the solution and that you've talked with employers, learners, and a developer if you're subcontracting the development work, so you understand what is possible. It explains why your idea is new and shows that you've done some market research into what's already out there. For example, we often get applications for learning management systems, and at our last count, there were over 50 LMSs fully available. So remember our emphasis on new ideas, new tech, new communities, and new sectors. Describe the technology and the impact you expect it to have clearly and simply. Show us that you've thought about what you want to do and how you could do it. Tell us about your ambition and your potential to scale, and be realistic about the impact on your organisation. Also be realistic about what you can achieve. Even if the issue or problem you're addressing is huge, focus on what you can achieve with our support. Explain why and how your learner group is not currently well served, and please keep your application jargon-free and simple. It is so frustrating for our assessors when they think there might be a good idea in an application, but it's so overwhelmed with jargon that they really can't work out what your problem is or how you're going to address it. We call those applications word salads, so please don't send us a word salad. Separate from our grant funding is our venture investment arm. UFI Ventures is the UK's specialist investor in VocTech, investing between £75,000 and £1 million in early stage companies. And there are some logos there of some of the companies we've already invested in, and there's more information on our website if you're curious. So what else do you need to know? We are genuinely not like other funders. When we say £30,000 to £60,000, we mean it. As I said, if you're using a bid writer, they'll probably tell you to come in under the max 60,000 to have a better chance of success. That's not how we operate, and we sometimes reject applications because we don't think they'll be realistic about the costs they will incur to do the work that they've described. So ask for what you need. It's a two-stage application process, which I'll talk more about in a moment. And stage two includes a set of questions which are individual to your application and allow us to ask you to clarify or strengthen specific areas of your proposal. We offer Ignite support to some applicants who were unsuccessful at stage two, where we really liked the underpinning idea and the project's focus, but ultimately decided that there were too many unknowns about the solution proposed. Ignite support is provided through up to 5 days individual expert advice and mentoring. And past Ignite projects have taken various directions. Some have subsequently applied for UFI funding rounds and been successful. Some realised that the organisation was not ready for such developments, and others have taken the project in a completely different direction. We said we're more about the money, more than just the money, and we genuinely are. If you're successful, you'll have the support of one of our project account managers who won't tell you what to do. These are your projects to deliver. But we'll use their experience and a have you thought about approach to support your project to have the best chance of success. As a charity itself, UFI must ensure that any grant given to any organisation that is not also a charity demonstrates public benefit. This means being able to see evidence of how the proposed approach will benefit learners, how the community of learners has been defined, and the total size of the groups the project could reach. Applicants must always explain clearly why they need UFI funding to support their project and how UFI's charitable funding will make a difference. Finally, we need to make sure that our funding is not more than is necessary to deliver the project and is not replacing private funding. The questions we ask in our application forms help us understand how your proposal can have a beneficial public outcome, both immediately and in the longer term. So here's the timetable. The deadline for submissions of stage one applications is 5 o'clock on the 8th of February. We do not accept late applications. Experience tells us that many of you, 98% actually, usually leave it to the last day to submit applications. And if you experience technical problems while completing or submitting your application, you must tell us as soon as possible via info@ufi.co.uk, but we cannot accept late applications. Stage one applicants will be advised at the end of February whether they have been successful and will be invited to submit their stage two application. The deadline for submission of stage two applications is 5 o'clock on the 15th of March, and our Board of Trustees will reach final decisions on funding by the middle of April. As you'd expect from a digital organisation, our application process is entirely online. Register at ufi.co.uk to access, complete, save and submit your application. Our system doesn't auto-save, so I'm going to go a bit off-piste here and say something really obvious. Please save your application as you go along. You can save a version and log out to go back to it another day. However, if you have saved multiple versions, they will all be visible when you log back in. So please make sure you click on the right version of your application when you go back in to continue. Then you need to click confirm once you've reviewed the whole thing to submit it. It's a two-stage application process, as I said, and access to stage two is by invitation only following success at stage one. And assessment at each stage is undertaken by an expert panel. You can make more than one application, but we always say that one great application is better than two average ones. So just to reinforce, our system doesn't also say auto-save, so please save as you go along. And then hit confirm when you're ready to submit. There's lots of help available on our website. We've put a lot of thought into our eligibility checker, so do take a look at that. If you click yes, no, it'll give you some hints or tips, or maybe as to what we're looking for. There's also the grant fund guidance. There's a top tips there, some of which I've talked about now and what a good application looks like. There's a set of frequently asked questions. And after every one of the workshops that this is a recording of, we update that list of frequently asked questions with any new ones we've been asked. Do take a look at the UFI grant funding standard terms and conditions. Those are non-negotiable, so do read them and make sure you're comfortable with them before you apply. You can also sign up for our community newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. And as well as emailing info@ufi.co.uk, there's also a help section on My UFI, which is the the bit of our website through which you make your application. So if you were in one of our workshops, this would be when you'd now move into a breakout room to have a chat with a member of our team. And I strongly recommend that you try and join one of those if you can, because they are incredibly useful. And so here's a reminder. Think about your application in terms of the vocational learning problem we are attempting to solve is, we will address this vocational learning need by, our solution is innovative because, and our vocational learners will benefit by whatever it is. And our application form tries to guide you through this thought process. And please remember to provide evidence, be practical, avoid jargon, and keep it simple. Grants of between £30,000 and £60,000 for projects lasting 3 to 12 months to test early stage ideas for how digital tech can help people obtain skills for work is what we're all about. Please do read the grant fund guidance. As I said, have a look at our eligibility checker, our top tips, and read our grant terms and conditions, which are non-negotiable. And you apply on the UFI via My UFI. Closing date is 5 o'clock on the 8th of February. My top tip is be clear. Perhaps get someone unfamiliar with what you want to do to read your draft application. It's so hard for our assessors to properly assess your application if they can't understand what it is you plan to do. A final reminder of the timetable and that we do not accept late applications. If you experience technical problems while completing or submitting your application, you must tell us as soon as possible via info@ufi.co.uk. So I hope you found that useful. There would be a short survey if you came to a workshop, and I wish you all well with your applications. Thank you.